So here we are, we're outside number 7 Cavendish Avenue, and this behind me here is Paul McCartney's house. He bought it in 1965, April 1965, for £40,000 off a Dr. Desmond O'Neill. So it'll have been probably roughly about the time they were either filming Help or Rubber Soul. Probably Help because it was earlier on in the year. So previous to this, Paul lived with Jane Ash's family. Yeah, so this is it, it's Paul McCartney's house. So now, follow me, we're going to take the route that Paul made every day when he was going to work at Abbey Road Studios from the Beatles' heyday, 1965 onwards. Follow me.
Would Paul have carried a ukulele there though, Dom?
Hey, you never know, he'd probably had all sorts of different instruments. He might have had his bass that went missing as well.
So a little bit of interest as well, we've got, is it Billy Fury's house?
Billy Fury as well, yeah, so Billy Fury.
This one here?
Larry Parnes is
it this
stable.
one?
It's just further up here.
Further up. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't think Paul would have ever got knocked over by a Vauxhall Movano in the day.
No. They were a thing of the future.
They were.
They didn't have Vauxhall Movanos.
Oh, Vauxhall Movano, don't squash me on the road. Okay, so there you go.
Billy Fury's house, yeah. So he was part of Larry Parnes' stable. And the Beatles actually worked for Larry Parnes. Before they made it big, they went up to Scotland, did a tour of Scotland, and Larry Parnes was the manager, and he also managed Billy Fury.
A big fan of Halloween by the looks of it. He's got his pumpkin out, Billy.
Yeah. Well, it is nearly Halloween. So there we go, so now we turn left. By the way, I don't know if many people know this, but right behind Paul's house is Lord's cricket ground.
Tell him the story about his garden, Dom.
Oh yeah, so in Paul's back garden, he's got this massive kind of dome that he uses to sit in. And basically there's a couple of beanbags there, I think. And he just uses it to look at the stars at night. And apparently had a part back in the 90s. And he invited Noel Gallagher to sit with him in this dome. And of course, Noel Gallagher was really excited being a Beatles fan. And then, I don't know if it had been to do with what they'd been smoking together, but I think Noel suddenly got a bit of the fear, and he said, "I hope he don't kiss me."
Must have been a romantic type of a romantic evening.
Here we are then. So we're at Abbey Road Studios now. So that took us probably, we haven't looked at the counter yet, but it's probably taken about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do a saunter, it might take you 7 minutes. If you're going to do a bit of a jog, it might take you 3 minutes, but it's roughly 5-minute walk from Paul's house to Abbey Road Studios. So that tells you that he kind of really wanted to immerse himself in his work. He wanted to live literally 5 minutes round the corner. So if he had some recording or he had an idea of something, it's like, oh, I'll just nip into the studio, and he didn't have far to go. And the interesting thing is that John and George, in particular, they opted to live more in the stockbroker belt in Surrey, because George lived in Esher, John lived in Weybridge. And you get the feeling that they were never that comfortable with being famous kind of thing. And it kind of, George even said that it was an attack on his nervous system, whereas Paul really relished the idea of going out, socialising, networking, going to the Indica Gallery, meeting all these famous artists and musicians that were out at the time. So yeah, so it just goes to show that Paul was right in the thick of it all, and he had a recording studio at his disposal, 5 minutes walk from his house. Now, this is a real kind of serendipitous moment here. So basically, we're outside Paul McCartney's house, 7 Cavendish Avenue, and who should join me here but Ringo Starr himself. Playing Ringo's part in Pretend Beatles, then?
I joined the Pretend Beatles in 2015. It was a big slice of luck on my part, really, because I was sending emails out to different Beatle bands, and only one replied, which was the Pretend Beatles. And as it happened, they just happened to be after a new drummer at the time.
If I were going to set up a Beatle tribute band, this is the man to play Ringo. When, you know, here we are, and what is it, September 2023, and like you said earlier on, saw a couple of people walking out, so there's every chance that he could be just over there right now, having his tea probably. So yeah, so, well, what can I say? Great to meet you, and talk about serendipity.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
You too, yeah, thank you.